Well, good evening from London. Welcome to Piers Morgan Uncensored. Harry and Meghan, currently the Duke and Duchess of Sussex, famously gushed about their love of chickens in one of the more saccharine moments of their Oprah Winfrey sobfest. Well, the chickens are now coming home to roost for these two. The royal family kept a stoic silence as the poison darts rained down from their Californian pedestal, but King Charles is quietly and devastatingly taking charge now. We now know that he booted the couple out of their palatial Frogmore cottage just 24 hours after Harry's book Spare, or Spare Me as I call it, was published. We also now know that Harry and Meghan's popularity is cratered on both sides of the Atlantic, with polls showing even Prince Andrew is now more popular than they are in America, as well as now being offered the keys to their house. And we also now know that in America, where they've strained every sinew to become much-loved celebrities, they're actually viewed like this.
Almost there. So let me start with you, Sam. You've lived a life with the royal family, you've had everything handed to you, but you say your life has been hard, and now you've written all about it in your new book, Wah. Yes, that's right, friend. You see, my wife and I are totally like, you should write a book because your family like stupid and then so are like journalists.
There's now a clear divide in the royal family, the workers and the shirkers, the heavy lifters and the grifters. The Prince and Princess of Wales saluted Welsh Guards yesterday at St David's Day Parade. Camilla, the Queen Consort, recovering from a recent bout of COVID, was promoting children's literature. King Charles is preparing to make state visits to Germany and France in his first royal tour as monarch. Meghan Markle, meanwhile, made a state visit to a coffee shop which sells superfood lattes inspired by holistic ingredients from around the world. And Prince Harry had another outing on US late-night television, the leftovers of a previous interview taped on his self-pity tour.
Harry, what is the best sandwich?
I would say a cheese and ham toastie with Dijon mustard on top.
And a toasty means grilled? Is that what that means?
Yeah.
Okay, there you go.
Unbelievable. That guy's sixth in line to the throne. On Saturday, he's at it again, flogging tickets to a digital seminar on family trauma. His trauma from his $13 million California mansion. You have to pay $33, by the way, to tune in online to see him banging on about his trauma again and what a victim he is. How it's all so beastly and unfair that he's making hundreds of millions fleecing his royal titles without doing any royal duty for it. But that's his level now, isn't it, for Harry? A gossiping gutter snipe, selling out his family to the highest bidders, a wannabe reality star, but that star is fading fast. Harry and Meghan think they can carry on having their royal cake and eating it, using those royal titles, like I say, while abusing the institution that afforded them those titles. And as usual, I'm afraid, they're wrong. And King Charles is right to draw the curtain on this ludicrous soap opera. On May the 6th, the King has his coronation. It will be one of the most important moments in modern British history. And the very last thing we need or want are the Duke and Duchess of Sussex, current titles, rocking up with their camera crews to distract attention and get more material for their next act of money-grabbing betrayal. Next week, 2,000 invitations will be sent out. In my view, it's time for Charles to be firm and make sure they're not on that list. Well, joining me now is the Sun Royal editor Matt Wilkinson, political journalist Ava Santina, plus author and columnist Maureen Callahan. Well, welcome to all of you. Let me start with you, Matt. Great scoop. I mean, this was a proper eye-popping scoop, particularly now that we know that the order to evict Harry and Meghan from Frogmore Cottage came from King Charles within 24 hours of the launch of Spare back on January the 10th.
Yeah, no, it's astonishing. I mean, Charles, I see it as he's acted very quickly, very decisively. Particularly, it was so close till after Spare, and he's seen the family. These traumas, the family splits, everything that's happened with Meghan and Harry and Andrew that kind of poisoned the last 3 or 4 years of the Queen's reign, sadly. And you could say that Charles has finally, by kicking them out of Frogmore, he's kind of finally delivered Megxit.
No, I don't suppose you'll lose much sleep over Meghan Markle disappearing out of Frogmore Cottage. He probably will lose some sleep over this action in relation to his son, because he's his son.
It's very sad that it's got to this stage, isn't it, really? I mean, we're always told...
Here it comes.
And he has shown as well that we're always told that he dearly loves his son and the door is always open to his son. When Harry came over recently, they came over, Meghan and they came over and they met at Clarence House. And I think it's an intense disappointment and sadness for Charles that it has actually got to this stage, yes.
Let's bring in Maureen Callahan from across the pond over in East Hampton. Maureen, thank you for joining us. I was staggered last week to see a poll that said that Meghan and Harry, since the release of this book and the Netflix documentary, are now less popular in the US than Prince Andrew. I mean, that was jaw-dropping.
Oh, Piers, it's remarkable, really. There's no love lost here for Prince Andrew, believe me. I think the real sort of final wallop to their reputation here, one that leaves no doubt where the bulk of the American public stands on these two was the South Park episode. So for the South Park episode to air and it went viral and people could not stop talking about it, to then be followed up with this incredibly, it's a sad decision, but it feels very necessary for King Charles to remove them, to send a clear message that what you are doing and what you are continuing to do, as you pointed out, with this Saturday's upcoming Winjathon online for $33.99, with pre-vetted questions, no live comments. I do believe that's King Charles saying, there are more things we can take away from you if you do not stop harming this family.
Right, I completely agree. Well, look, Ava, you're in the... the unenviable position of trying to defend these two, because I think pretty much everyone else we tried to get to do it didn't want to know. I mean, they've lost even their keenest supporters. Are you still standing in Team Sussex?
Look, I have never been Team Sussex. I've
Wait for it.
always been Team anti-monarchy and anti-royal, and I don't think that any of them actually have a place at the top of the hierarchy in the UK anymore. I think it's outrageous that they even had entitlement still to this cottage. I mean, when they renovated it, they charged £3 million to the taxpayer, which I know they eventually paid back. But the idea that £3 million was taken away, potentially from paying nurses, from paying teachers, and re-wallpapering that cottage...
Well, the
makes me
truth
quite
about
sick.
the royal family is, though, that the costs of maintaining the royal family are
Here it comes.
offset by the money they bring in.
On.
Oh, they are.
Oh, come on. It's
They're
just so
actually offset.
ridiculous.
They're offset by the money that comes in, particularly from tourism.
Listen, people come in
They are
because
a net positive.
people
They are,
like
as
to
a business.
see. People like to see
You may not
Buckingham
like
Palace.
it.
They
By the
like
way,
to
Stop it.
see. They like to see the relics
Is
of
your
our
physical
monarchy
distress
past.
tonight because you were at the Arsenal-Everton game last night?
I
Your
am
team got
crying.
absolutely
Yeah, I am.
hammered. Have you been crying ever since?
I have been. Yeah, that was the 100th time that Arsenal have beat Everton.
Yeah.
That last night.
And you
That was
got an
really quite
absolute
upsetting.
Booting last. So I just want to make sure you're okay.
Thank you.
Seem a
Thank
little
you.
delicate tonight. But the point about the monarchy, though, is you're wrong about that, because you may not like the idea of it. That's fine, but they don't actually cost the country any money. They're a net positive.
They cost the country a fortune, and Prince
They
Charles
don't.
has a lot of
That's
his
not
own money.
true.
Prince Charles has a lot of his own money, actually enough to
Ava, it's
sustain
not true.
himself.
It's
He
not
does
true.
not need to be taking money off the taxpayer
Ava,
to live his life.
You can keep telling me they cost a lot of money. They don't.
Okay.
What?
They are
Could
a
you
net
tell me how they
positive.
don't?
Tourism is...
But they would come without them.
Matt?
They would come to see the castles.
But it's also the incredible good work that they do, not for their own benefit, but for the benefit of the country. They don't have to go out and do all this wonderful work for charities. They don't have to go out and raise
I
lots
would
of
do it.
profile for charities.
You would do it?
They're
I
not
would
doing it
do
for their
it.
own personal
I would
gain.
go.
They're doing it because they're members
You
of the royal
can't even
family
go to
of
a
the
football
Crown.
match without getting upset. Look at
I
the
would
stadium
happily
here.
read a book today like Camilla did and then get to live in a palace off the back of that. I'd
It's a
love
lot
to do it.
harder job than that, I can
Camilla's
tell
been
you.
to prisons and read books too.
I'll do that.
Also,
prisoners who
every
can't
tiny
read.
spit and cough of your private life would
Do
be
you know what?
spattered across the papers. Would you be comfortable with
Fine, fine. It's so boring
that? Well, I
anyway.
wonder, given I failed to even rally a tiny slither of support from you for the Sussexes, that's all, obviously the woke crowd have all abandoned them.